How you doing, YouTube? Matt Massa Beer Reviews back with new brewery time in the form of McCall Brewing. It is their itty bitty little Lehigh. This is Session India Pale Ale. On the side here, they actually say the Little Lehigh Creek is the largest of the Lehigh River's tributaries and runs through Allentown, less than a mile away from our brewery. Seeing as the creek is a smaller version of its brother, we saw it fitting, to do the same with the beer. We took our Lehigh IPA recipe, cut it down to 4.5% ABV, but left the hopping rates untouched. The end result is an extremely sessionable IPA with the flavor and body of its counterpart, but in a form that's built to have more than one. Yeah. Okay, I dig it. First things first. Comes courtesy of my boy Adam. He's in some form or fashion friends with, I believe, the people who own a brewery, or maybe he's just a patron that enjoys their beers quite a bit. But he watches the reviews. He sent off a box of their beers. Thank you very much, brother. Two, I lived in this area quite a bit. Wasn't a lot of breweries when I lived over there. Now there's a bunch. See what happens? I move away and you end up having a lot of breweries. And three, I always talk about branding. I'm not going to sit here and say I love the branding on this. I don't hate it. You know, a little bit of map in the background. I'm always good for a map on a beer. A little bit of sketchy art. That works too. But one thing is driving me insane about this can, and I did not notice it until I read it. You put a hyphen. So when you lay out fonts and like whatever you want to use, Illustrator, InDesign, Photoshop, you can turn that off. That needs to be turned off because this is Extreme-Lee. As you can see, Extreme-Lee. And you'd be like, okay, they're pressed for space. They need to kind of fit it all kind of nice down there. It's not hard to do that. And two, if you look, they have this whole line of text that kind of ends here, and they have all the space. So they could have easily knocked off that little Y. I know, it's so dumb. But for someone who does stuff like that for a living, it's not dumb. It's not dumb. But that's me just, me doing my thing. There's no barcode on this either. I just noticed that from the get. So these guys are strictly selling out of their tap room because there's no barcode on us whatsoever. So that's kind of a weird thing to see too. But I mean, if you're selling some stuff straight out of your tap room, it doesn't really matter. But as far as the beer looks, I mean, it looks like a really nice, well done, kind of small little itty bitty hazy pale because it looks richer. It looks more like in your 6% range when it comes to a hazy IPA. Had dissipated really quick. When you talk, as long as I do, that tends to happen from time to time. So yeah, I mean, she looks the part of a nice, bigger hazy, actually. Let's get a nose. Yeah, I mean, there's a decent amount of hops in here. And it's kind of a peachy, tropical fruit, and then a little bit of kind of like a pineapple kind of vibe I'm getting off of this. I'm sure there's going to be citrus in there, but that's how it's leaning for me. That being said, there's a soft little buttery vibe to it. When you're doing these kind of super aggressively hopped hazies, especially at lower ABV, your hop creep, the acetal thing can come into play. I'm assuming that's where it comes from. It's not overt, but it's definitely there. Let's just dive in. Cheers. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty vibrant, pretty aggressive. Lower ABV, sub 5%, I should say, kind of hazy. There's a little bit of like almost like a seltzery carbonic acid kind of bittering on it, but it's not over the top. And for its ABV level and the kind of hopping in there, I think it kind of props up that bitterness a little bit. I like it. It's not had a hand, but if it was a skosh smaller, I'd be a little bit more to my liking. The actual hops definitely in kind of a pineapple citrus more than a tropical fruit for me in the taste, and it does actually in the nose. Nice mouthfeel to it. It's not super soft or creamy. It's not going to be confused with thin anytime soon. But there is that soft, buttery diacetyl thing going on. And like I said, it could be a combination of a couple different things. It could be the actual beer. With doing this aggressive amount of hopping on a small beer like this, sometimes you can, like I said, have that kind of hop creep, and which can produce that kind of diacetyl off flavors. And or it could be this kind of took a week and a half to ship, and it got here a little bit longer. I don't think that's the case. It was cool nights out. Beer's not all that old. I'm leaning towards an aggressive hopping here that and itself having a little bit of a hop creep going on. The only thing that is kind of a bummer is I have no dates on this. Adam might have given me dates on these. I'll have to look back, but I'm not going to do it right now. But it's not a bad beer. I mean, it sounds like I'm coming off as Negative Nancy here, but it's more like these lower ABV beers are my jam, and I'm really kind of looking for what's great about the beer and what I perceive as something I'm not a big fan of. And I like the way the hopping is kind of showing itself. It's showing itself bigger than 4.5%, what you typically expect 4.5%. It's even sweeter than what you expect 4.5%. Not going to be confused with sweet, but it's sweeter than what you typically get at that low ABV. Really nice mouthfeel. Not going to be confused with really thick or turbid or soft or creamy or water nerdy. So it's a really nice, well done, lower ABV kind of hazy. It just does have that soft little diacetyl thing going on, which might or might not be kind of batch specific or can specific. It's forgivable. It's not like, let's put it this way, if I got this at a tap room, it's not like I'm pushing it back going, this beer's off, I'm not going to drink this. But if I drink this beer and I don't mention it, I'm a fucking liar. So it's one of those things where, speak the truth, baby. But yeah, I like it. It's fun. Let's put it this way. You give me a can of this. First time I'm having this brewery. I've never had anything from them before. I'm excited to see what the other cans hold. Let's put it that way. So, is every brewery always going to knock out of the park and be king shit of fuck mountain with every beer they ever produce? No, that's not possible. You don't want to think that way, nor should you. But it's a nice little introduction to a brewery that I'm kind of pumped to try, because all their stuff is bigger than this, but relatively low ABV, which is kind of right up my jam. So I'm pumped. Thank you very much, Adam. So anyway, let's cut to the chase. This is one of the better lower ABV hazies I've had, absolutely. Even with that kind of little bit of off flavor, it's worthy of being in a conversation, not necessarily towards the top. Value and availability, no idea. Adam, let me know what's what, and leave you with, if you like what we like this beer, if you like your low ABV crushable hazies, but you want ones that come off a little bit bigger in impact. Like I said at the beginning, and it did follow through most of the beer, it does have like a 5.5%, 6% kind of vibe to it. So you don't think you're drinking 4.5%, which is a really fun thing to do, especially at that low ABV level. So if you like your hazies, but you want that little bit of low ABV, this does not suck. So there you go. Another review in the books. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Down there if you want to talk about it. Massive Beers if you want to check me out doing the social media stuff. Beer Massive. Want to check me out doing the whole podcasting thing. And hopefully you guys enjoyed our review. Hopefully enjoying a little bit of McCall right now. Hope to see you next time. Cheers.